Wonderful. Welcome everybody to this most recent webinar Wednesday. My name is Toby Cordelew. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management and Strategic Initiatives for the MSC program, managing the admissions efforts. And I'm excited that you're here joining us. Today's topic is co-curricular activities within the MSC program. And to provide a little context, I think a lot of you know that I'm an alum of the MSC program. I graduated back in 2012. And I think almost every single thing you're going to hear about today did not exist when I was a student just about 8 years ago. And so Anne-Marie Adams and Amy Howenstein are going to talk to us about a lot of the programs that they have not only been providing for our students, but created, the two of them, over the past few years. And I'm excited to hear about it and learn about all of the things that happen with our students that extend beyond the curriculum. And so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Anne-Marie and Amy now. Oh, one quick thing. Like I said, I'm going to keep you muted for now. We will have time for questions at the end that you can either submit via chat, or we can unmute everybody and ask questions directly, whatever kind of works for you. But for now, we're going to keep you muted while Anne-Marie and Amy share with us. So I'll let you guys take it from here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to talk about co-curricular programming. My name is Anne-Marie Adams. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm the Assistant Director of the MSC program, and I lead the Custom Leadership program. I teach in the Custom Leadership program, where I'm the capstone instructor and teach one of the international courses. In my role, I'm responsible for academic advising, co-curricular programming, and student affairs for the Custom Leadership program.
And welcome, everyone. I'm Amy Howenstein. I am the Director of Curriculum and Non-Degree Programs. My pronouns are she, hers. And I oversee the curriculum in both programs, but then lead the student and academic affairs in our hybrid leadership program.
Admittedly, it can be challenging in a one-year program to find time to be reflective. So we've intentionally built in spaces to help you think more on a macro level, and that's through co-curricular programming. When we talk about co-curricular programming, we're referring to activities, programs, and learning experiences that complement, in one way or another, what students learn in the classroom. So this is optional programming that is offered throughout the week and on the weekend when you're not in class. For those of you who live out of town, we typically record all of our co-curricular programming and post it later to Canvas. Because our classroom courses teach timeless concepts and applications, co-curriculum really allows us to teach timely concepts. So while we don't have a class on MySpace, thankfully, we might have a class or a talk on someone coming in to speak to you about things like TikTok or other mediums. So now we're going to take a look at our co-curricular programming options. We frequently have guest speakers throughout both programs coming in throughout the year. The first is called An Evening With, and this series is held quarterly, alternating between the Chicago and Evanston campuses. Topics include things like storytelling, negotiations, personal branding, and communication campaigns. The second option is called Food for Thought. This is held quarterly during lunch sessions on Saturdays. Both speaker series are completely optional for students, and the dates and signups are always listed in Canvas, which is used heavily throughout our program. This is our learning management software that's also similar to Blackboard, which some of you may have had in college. We also invite alumni to these events, which creates a great opportunity for networking and community building. For Amy and I, our role is to really help situate students with the course content into your lives, both personally and professionally. Within the advising function, we help students draw connections between coursework and MSC's core curricular themes, learning outcomes, and dispositions. We're also the capstone instructors, so we will be hosting quarterly lunches and webinars throughout the year for all students. During the year, we help you focus on how to think, not what to think. Together, we'll learn different tools and strategies to help you succeed in the classroom while a student in our program. We truly view MSC as a learning laboratory where you have a low or practically no risk opportunity to try out new skills and experiences. Each quarter, we host a day-long lab focused on strategic and tactical skills related to a relevant communication topic. Creative branding and design is one of our most popular co-curricular offerings, and something that Amy and I are both really excited about. One of the things we've heard so many times throughout the year from our students is that they're being asked time and again to do more graphic design work in their roles, and they've needed help with that. So this is our response to that need. Fez Razi and Betsy Cole are two of our adjunct faculty who we've paired together to offer a hands-on introduction to professional design software and the basics of typography, color, and graphic design for both print and web. There's absolutely no design experience required to take part of the design co-curriculum. These workshops are offered once quarterly during the week and then followed up with a Saturday lunch session. Fez and Betsy are both really great with allowing students to sign up for drop-in to help them during lunches as they'd like.
We also have a cultural intelligence and managing inclusion workshop series that I host. We meet once quarterly through lunchtime on a Saturday. You just sign up if you're interested. It's really to explore and champion how equity, diversity, and inclusion show up in the workplace. So we focus on things like leadership itself, how your own identity impacts the way you lead, and also places that you might not think of DEI existing, like supplier diversity or hiring and promotion. So I often invite alumni who hold high positions. We have several chief diversity officers in our alumni pool to come in and talk with you about how equity shows up in the workplace. We also do a fair amount of study on how to be a good ally in the workplace and some initiatives that you might start if you are not a decision maker. So learning how to lead up and down and out as an ally.
MSC hosts an annual holiday party, spring happy hour, and summer barbecue. These are great because it gives students the chance to commemorate milestones along the way to graduation with faculty, staff, and alumni. In response to students asking us for more programming, believe it or not, we've created enrichment tutorials that are offered in Canvas. These are completely optional and for students to do at their own pace. Many of these are meant to inform and inspire students for their capstone projects. Oftentimes, students take these enrichment tutorials during their quarter breaks. So now we've gone through all of our co-curricular programming. These are fluid. Amy and I change them throughout the year for each of our programs based on interests of the students. One of the ways we gauge student interest is through an incoming student survey and interviews that we do throughout the early summer. I would just reiterate, Amy and I love working with our students and creating these co-curricular programmings. So if you ever have questions along the way, don't hesitate to ask us. And now I'd open it up to any questions you might have.
Terrific. Thank you both. I'm going to unmute everybody, and you're certainly welcome to ask questions directly, or you can use the chat function to submit any questions that you might have. To kick things off, while people are thinking about any questions that they might have, can you unpack the academic advising a little bit more? I think that a common question that I hear from prospective students and admitted students is, how do they go about selecting the elective courses in the custom program, or what advice is available, those types of things that might make them, might help with those types of choices that they have. And then so that's the custom program. And then Amy could maybe talk a little bit about what academic advising exists with the hybrid students and how that works.
Sure. So in the fall, when I talk to students about academic advising, we're really focusing on the core curricular themes. Each course the foundation for each course's design is based on one or more of the co-curricular themes. So as we go through the coursework and what you're learning in the classroom, we're pairing it with the foundation of the course's design. So we're talking about ways to connect what you're learning in the classroom to what you're doing in your personal and professional life, and really having just that one-on-one conversation about what you're seeing in the classroom. One of the things that people ask me a lot is course selection. I always tell students to challenge themselves, to think outside the box, to stretch their skill set, and think about what course might be a nice addition to what they already have in their toolbox. I am also a graduate of the MSC program from 2011, and I can tell you I was not the person who stretched my skill set in that way, and I really wish I had. There was a course taught by Eric Patrick, who still teaches visual communication in the program. I didn't take his class because I was so nervous. Even though I was told you don't have to have a background in graphic design, that's not what the course is about, I was nervous to take the class. And so my advice to students is to always address that and really stretch your skill set. So for each student, it's different. I don't think that one program or one course throughout the program will make or break your experiences going forward. So I would really encourage students to think holistically about what earning a Master of Science in Communication degree really means to each of you. And that's something that only you can answer for yourselves. Amy can talk to the hybrid program and their curriculum.
Sure. So just to reiterate what Anne-Marie said, in both programs, the capstone course is really about just that, figuring out what a Master of Science in Communication degree means to you. How does it impact your brand? How does it help you situate yourself in the workforce? What kinds of ways have you really developed as a thinker? And while you're doing that, it helps to position or to talk out loud to someone about what you're learning in your courses, what you've affirmed that you already knew, and now maybe you have new labels for it, or you have a new theory that describes what it is, and before you just sort of instinctually came along and knew this to be true through your experience. At the same time, there are places where you're learning brand new things, and you're trying to take all of this information in an accelerated program and situate it in a way that makes sense for you and sense for your life. So in the hybrid leadership program, it's a very scripted curriculum. So we've created courses that you take one at a time and they build upon each other. The sequence is very important in that program. And a big part of academic advising there is helping you understand what each course means to you, but then how each course interacts with each other, and how you create sort of this circular level of knowledge around you, and what you're going to do, how you're going to execute all of this new information into your own brand.
Great, thank you. We've got a couple questions that have come through the chat here. Mary asks, is there a certification in cultural intelligence and managing inclusion that's available to receive from attending the workshops? And similar question with the graphic design. So with these extra co-curricular opportunities in design and DEI, or cultural inclusion, what does a certificate look like, or how is that all kind of codified or categorized for us?
Sure. So I'll speak to the graphic design and Amy can talk about cultural intelligence. Any student who attends 80% of the offerings that are offered by the curriculum on graphic design, they will receive a certificate at the end of the year on creative branding and design. So we do have that available.
Sure. And they have a website that's a series of tutorials with follow-up webinars with chances to submit the work that you're doing and get feedback on it. So it's a very interactive piece, even though you're only technically meeting in person once a series a quarter. So a lot of the work is something that you take on your own. So provided that you meet these benchmark assignments that they have you turn in, that's where we calculate the 80%. For the CIQ, is what we call cultural intelligence, we've not yet developed it to the point of a certification, but it is certainly my will that we will. Perhaps it will happen by next year. I'm not exactly sure. In order to do so, we have to meet some minimum requirements and have some coursework assigned to it. So currently, it's more of an information gathering seminar rather than sort of a workshop where you're producing content for yourself. But it's not out of reach that if your cohort is interested in that we could develop it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One other question in the chat from, excuse me, I'm going to mispronounce this, from Naye, I'm sorry. What are the benefits or interested for attending from outside the United States of America? Can you talk a little bit about opportunities for international students as they pertain to co-curricular activities or the curriculum in general, maybe?
Yeah, so the curriculum in general is very admittedly ethnocentrically American. We have a lot of courses that that consider the global element, but it's definitely from a Western and specifically an American perspective of organizations, corporations, and communities. So it's thinking about how businesses in the US work with external countries or other cultures. For being in the program in general, you're going to get a much better understanding of the way American businesses work. For the co-curriculum, you're going to hear firsthand from people in leadership positions, whether it's our alumni or experts that we invite in, talk about the work that they're doing and talk about the people and the kinds of ideas and thinkers that they want to collaborate with. So the co-curriculum is a really amazing place to build your network, hear from industry experts. A fair amount of our faculty have consulting experience themselves, but largely they're academics. So co-curriculum is a really great place to meet folks who are, we joke, out in the wild, out in organizations doing the work. So it's a really nice complement to having, the academic acumen that you'll get from being in our courses, to hearing about how those theories actually work in the workplace.
Perfect, thank you. Chris asks a common question. What are some of the more interesting professional backgrounds that students come in from? Is the program a fit for people who are not looking to become specifically a communication director?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the interesting thing about communication is that it transcends every industry and job function. We've had people from marketing, healthcare, politics, consulting, education, sales. When I came into the program, I was in a marketing role at an insurance company, and the MSC was the best thing that I could have done for myself at the time and for my growth. So I would say that we have such a diverse range of job industries and functions.
Yeah, as the lone MSC member who does not have an MSC degree, I was really surprised by the variety, the diversity of the cohorts in particular. It's, not unusual to have a nurse, a fireman, a lawyer, every industry and every profession, every job title that we can think of, I think has been through, including an MD. My first year, 2014, was the first cohort that I saw any part of, and we had a literal brain surgeon in the cohort. and he was opening his own surgery center. And he said, I know how to do surgery, but I don't know how to get nurses to do what I'd like them to do. I need help just with general management skills. And we drove deeply into the ground. Oh, it's not brain surgery that year. But we have people from all different walks of life.
I would add that it's very common for us to have, in addition to what Amy said, we've had people with an MBA coming for an MSC, and frequently we see JDs coming through the program. And it's some of what Amy said. The person who I'm thinking of with an MBA had a very high level position for CME Group. And he said in his interview, my manager told me that I am great at my job. I can tell you all about ROI, but I don't know how to talk to people. And if I don't go through a program, I won't continue to be promoted and move up in my company. So I need to figure out what that looks like for me. So it's really interesting to see people with all of these different backgrounds and levels of education coming through the program.
And then also we have people who don't know what's next. And they're really looking to explore lots of options. This is truly a great leadership and management degree in the sense of these widely apply. That's why so many different kinds of people are in the seats. They apply everywhere. So we regularly have folks who are just coming out of undergrad or a few years out, and what they've been trying isn't the best fit, and they want to brush up on their leadership skills. And then in the same, we have folks who are ready to retire and they're not ready to drop out completely. So they're wondering what they might do next. So this is also a great program, a great course of study to help you figure out what really fits.
Wonderful, thank you. So with just a couple minutes left, I'm going to put you on the spot. So both of you are kind of Anne-Marie oversees and is primarily the direct point of contact for students in the custom program. Amy, similar for the students in the hybrid program. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of what do you like most about working for the MSC and working with the students that you work with? What do you find the most rewarding aspect of your job and getting to interact with all of these students from all of these different types of backgrounds year in and year out?
For me, it's having different groups of students every year who we're working with. The identity of each cohort is so different. So when you see them coming in for orientation and you're picking out like who's the one who's going to be the one to get everybody together and to be the cheerleader of the group and make sure that everybody is getting on and looking after each other, and seeing you progress throughout the program is really interesting. And it's fascinating to see you go through, it's a one-year program, but you're learning so much information in 1 year, and how you're applying it immediately into the workplace is just incredible to see and to be a part of, even in a small way, to be a part of that. You're learning things on a Saturday and you're implementing it on Monday, or you're coming back and saying, that theory didn't work for me and here's why. And working through that with our faculty, who are incredible human beings. They're world-renowned scholars and practitioners, and they love our students. And to be able to reach out to them years down the road and ask them questions, and to have this network of outstanding Northwestern alumni is something that you can't compare. And so for me, I love interacting with our students every day. And Toby mentioned this at the beginning, when I went through the program, we did not have one programming opportunity co-curriculum outside of a happy hour that was in December. And we had a guest panel in the spring, but that was it. Now, MSC, we've been really intentional about what we've done, and we've listened to student feedback and heard what you wanted. So the really great thing about both of us, for Amy and I, is that when we hear what somebody wants to do or what they're interested in, we have the flexibility to bring in guest speakers and panels and talk about it and make connections for you. So for us, it's really getting to know individuals on a personal level and being able to find connections and ways to enhance their program experience.
So Anne-Marie very wisely chose to go first there, Amy.
Sorry.
What's
What she said.
left for you to say?
No, I just want to add that in addition to student opinions, all of this is grounded in some pretty heavy data and research that we did. The first year that we implemented this, we did a large-scale self-study and invited industry experts from Fortune 500 recruiting firms and asked them what skills, what characteristics, what dispositions do you look for in senior leaders? And that's really where the first sort of layer of this developed from. I can talk more about learning outcomes and dispositions of the program in another webinar, but to answer Toby's question, my favorite thing about working for MSC is watching the transformation of students. As cliche as it sounds, this year is a deep, deep self-study. It is figuring out who you are, how you lead, what your identity means to you and the choices that you've made so far, and the ways that you can make changes and alter that course or stay the course. So a big part of Anne-Marie and I's job is to talk with you and sort of make some points. It's really rare that, especially for women, and we are a women-driven program here, as far as the cohort goes, women don't usually talk about themselves all that much. It's whether it's a humility thing or a culture, we would much rather tell you about someone else than ourselves. And a big part of what we do is helping you create the stories, understand the narratives about yourself. And I think that's my favorite part.
That's great. We've had a couple more questions come in, and then we'll wrap up. The last question that we have is from Winifred. Do either of you have a lot of experience or are at all aware of opportunities for students to get involved in the larger NU campus life?
Yep. So we mentioned Canvas a lot throughout today's discussion. We list an entire menu of resources that are available to students on campus. And we give you also calendar events, opportunities that are coming up on campus so that you're aware of them. There's a number of clubs and activities that you can do on campus. And so those opportunities certainly exist. And we try to tell our students about them as much as they can.
And also the minute you enroll in classes, you are part of the Northwestern Alumni Association. So any of the offerings, and you can, scroll through their website, take a look at the things that they offer. But the university also has a calendar system so that you can see what's going on campus. There's lots of theater opportunities and music opportunities and multicultural groups and lots of things for you to join.
And I would add also, once you complete the program and you graduate from MSC, we have an alumni association that is fantastic. They put together opportunities for networking, community building. They have different faculty come in, guest speakers. So you're always connected to Northwestern. Once you're in MSC, you're always MSC Northwestern family. So we have really great connections throughout the community.
Wonderful. Thank you both very much. I am going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We're a little bit over time. I have a couple other questions, and I'll respond to those individually before we officially log off. But thank you very much to Anne-Marie and Amy for your time today and expertise. We certainly appreciate it. This has been recorded and will go up on our website if anybody wants to rewatch it or follow up or has any other questions. You're also welcome to follow up with us directly through our general email, which I'll type in now to everybody. It's msc@northwestern.edu, msc@northwestern.edu. Did I type it right? Yes, I did. And then next Wednesday, we are excited to have 3 recent alumni from the Custom Leadership Program. to join us and talk about their specific experience as students, as recent alums, to talk about the collaborative nature of the program, what they've learned, what they're using along the way, and can't wait for that. And then the week after that, we're going to have 3 recent alumni from the hybrid program having a similar conversation. So thank you again to everyone. I appreciate your time today, and we will let you go. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.